Hey everybody, Jason here. So I have officially escaped from Canada and I'm currently sitting in my home here in central Mexico. I want to quickly tell you about why I escaped, make a few comparisons. So it's probably no surprise at all to a lot of people that Canada has a lot of social problems. Maybe it's a surprise to people internationally to hear about it. Canada likes to promote itself as a perfect country, a place to move to, and a lot of foreigners are usually surprised when they hear about the problems that Canadians face. I moved out of Canada because I wanted to go somewhere where I would be treated better. I had to weigh checks and balances, and I not only compared Mexico, but I compared other countries. I compared things as an investor, but also just as a person, just as Jason. Where would I be more comfortable? Where is a better investment? Where would I have a happier life? And it's probably a surprise for a lot of you when I say that I chose to move to Mexico, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a surprise. You know, people in Canada, the United States, and elsewhere in the world have been receiving this picture of Mexico. That some of it is true, but a lot of it is not true. We hear about the bad things in Mexico, but we don't hear about the good things. And like everywhere in the world, there are good areas and there are bad areas. And Mexico offers a lot of good if you do your homework and choose a place that suits you. But that's not what this video is about. So the first thing I should say is, as a person moving from a country like Canada, the United States, United Kingdom, or other first world countries, if that's politically correct to say, I don't really give a shit. That's what I'm saying. We have an advantage, and it's true. I'm not going to play that down. I have an advantage. The advantage is the cost of living in Canada is astronomical. And that's one of the reasons why I would want to leave Canada, but it also gives me an advantage when I sell up. For example, the average cost of a home in Canada in 2024 is $730,000 Canadian. You know, this is a problem for most people hoping to get into the housing market to buy their first home. For someone who owns a home, this is a huge advantage when considering moving to another country like Mexico. Here in central Mexico, in the neighborhood that I'm living, a gated community with a golf course, a swimming pool, you know, beautiful condominium type living. A 3-bedroom home is for sale for the equivalent of $230,000 Canadian. That's right. So if you own your home outright in Canada and sell for the average price, you'll end up buying a place similar and still have $500,000 in your bank. Of course, the cost of living is better in Mexico. We know that. It's going to be comparable in tourist areas, but in most of Mexico, you're going to save money on pretty much anything. Going out for dinner, buying your groceries, buying your clothes. Prices are going to be about 3/4 of what you would pay in Canada or the United States. At least that's what my finding is. So the general cost of living is going to be much better. So if you're self-employed, you know, if you're retired and have a pension, if you have real estate to sell, you can move to a country like Mexico and your money, your bank account is going to last a lot longer. So what this means is you have a much longer timeline or investment horizon. So another reason why I moved to Mexico is to escape the weather of Canada. A lot of people love the weather of Canada. I do not. I have to admit, even in summer, I find it hot and very humid. Here in Mexico, especially where I am now in central Mexico, the weather right now, the beginning of August, is 24 degrees Celsius, and it's a dry heat. It's beautiful. Of course, in winter, I don't need to worry about the minus 40-degree temperatures. In spring, I don't need to worry about all of the rain and gray skies. The climate here is just better. And it's benefits to the climate that are outside of just how I feel. A better climate means more fruits and vegetables grown locally. I mean, locally. We know that in Canada, you go to the supermarket and you see that things come from Mexico. Well, of course they do. The climate is better. So when I'm away from Canada and I'm asked, what is a problem in Canada? I tell people Canada is highly regulated. It's highly regulated for the benefit of the people, or at least that's what we're taught. We have regulations for how we build our homes. We have regulations for, who can drive a car, who can drink alcohol. We have regulations regarding our healthcare system. Regulation after regulation after regulation. We now have so much regulation that it's in our school system as well. And we're being told how to think. Political correctness, what's right and what's wrong. We're being regulated how we think, how we behave. And if we don't behave the proper way, then we're seen as a bad person. And in some cases, it's against the law. Another big reason why I left Canada is the woke mind virus that is just consuming the people. It's consuming society in Canada at all levels. And a lot of people will blame the current political government, but the truth is, this is a problem that is much deeper. And I don't see it being solved if the current government is replaced with a new government. It's so deep in our society. It's beginning with our children in the education system. And this is a real problem. The education system is being used for political agendas for a variety of different topics. So when I'm asked about what I don't like about Canada, this is often the number one thing that I talk about. I think it's horrible. So let me give you an example, a comparison. If you had a neighbor or a friend approach your children at 8 years, 9 years old, and start feeding them political ideas, sexual education ideas, would you be okay with that? Because I know I wouldn't be. I would be completely pissed. That friend, that neighbor, they would definitely get an earful, minimum. But for some reason, Canadian society is allowing children to be educated on ideas that are not appropriate, that should be taught from within the family. This is the woke mind virus. This is how they're infiltrating the society, the people of Canada. They're going after the children, so the children educate at an early age and have these ideas. And you can see it in the political polls and where the young people tend to lean more politically. They lean more politically based on the education that they're receiving. And this is wrong. Canada's really losing its culture. It's losing its identity. We have these figures that we hold on to. Beaver, Mounties. But these things are not the same as other people have from other countries. Here in Mexico, if I was to ask someone about Mexican culture and what are culturally significant things, I would be told all kinds of different things. Mole, the food, completely a Mexican food. Dia de los Muertos, completely a Mexican thing. So many things. And I think you can do that with a lot of countries around the world. Identify what is specific to that country. And they're wonderful. It gives people a good sense of belonging and, a richness to society. And Canada is really losing that. Canadians are behaving like entitled, spoiled brats. Canada has become a place that celebrates pride. And pride can be a good thing, but pride is also a bad thing. Pride fosters arrogance. It fosters entitlement. And this is a really, really poisonous thing to unleash on society. You know, I could list so many different experiences that I had when I'm visiting Canada of encounters with Canadians behaving like spoiled children. We really need to think about this. You know, I'm from a generation when people were taught not to behave badly. You know, when you would see spoiled behaving children and you would identify them, you would say, whew, you know, spoiled brat. Well, now it seems like everybody in Canada is spoiled, entitled. And this is something that's just going to get worse. Escape is about breaking free of confinement or control. And that's why I titled this video, Escaping from Canada. Because in Canada, there are so many regulations that we are being confined, we are being controlled. And this is a real problem that I don't see ending anytime soon. So there you have it. The bottom line is I made a list of checks and balances, and I decided that I can live better with more freedom of thought, more freedom of speech, better use of my investment, better value, better quality of life. In the next video, I'm going to show you what an example of a day in Mexico is like. I hope you check it out. Thanks for watching.